This is Valley View News.
There is a push for low-income neighborhoods in Los Angeles to enroll in Obamacare as the enforcement of Obamacare is approaching. Around 500 fast food workers marched from Romaine and Western to Hollywood and Highland Center, protesting for higher pay. A proposal allowing painting on public property has drawn out both supporters and opposition in Los Angeles.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Nenora Corey.
And I'm Christiana Kelly. Polls show Americans are highly skeptical about the Obama administration's plan for missile strikes against the Syrian regime. A Pew survey found 59% of Americans polled said they oppose unilateral U.S. military action. Americans are even more opposed to providing weapons to rebel forces in Syria. 70% say they are against the step that the Obama administration may take. There is little optimism among Americans about the possible aftermath of missile strikes. 74% believe the strikes will prompt a backlash against the U.S. and its allies.
Congress is resuming work on Capitol Hill after a month-long recess. On the agenda will be the crisis in Syria and the White House's plan for military intervention. Secretary of State John Kerry said Monday there is strong evidence that the Syrian regime used chemical weapons against its own people. Kerry arrived in London Sunday, where he held talks with the foreign ministers of Egypt and Saudi Arabia. Kerry will continue to lobby Congress to authorize a military strike against the regime. Observers say the Senate is more likely to okay a strike, but the House may well oppose such military intervention.
Organizations continue to reach out to Angelenos, especially in the low-income citizens, as the implementation of Obamacare is approaching. Mona Adam has more on this story.
Mario Puga.
With less than 4 months until the new healthcare begins for millions of Californians, Service Employees International, United Healthcare Workers for America, continues their mission to make people ready for Obamacare. Volunteers and staff members welcome potential healthcare participants before describing the Obamacare and Let's Get Healthy California mission. By targeting low-income neighborhoods of South and East Los Angeles, the union tries to raise awareness about the changes that will occur under the new health reform. Elliot Perry, the lead organizer who has been with the union for over 2 years, said one of the biggest obstacles to overcome is the feeling of hopelessness.
You know, these are really working class neighborhoods, working class communities, and so the biggest obstacle really is people's hope. Or lack thereof. You know, we are dealing with folks who have encountered all sorts of obstacles to getting health care coverage. They've been told no and don't know why. They've been given the runaround, been told to go here and go there, and they can't find any help. Some people have had coverage and then were dropped from coverage and have no idea why. The system doesn't speak to people in a way that's plain, in a way that's simple. And so it creates a lot of confusion, and people begin to lose, little by little, begin to lose their hope.
But while California, which has one of the highest rate of uninsured residents in the nation, may be in lead of implementing Obamacare, a new poll shows that 60% of Californians are somewhat knowledgeable about Obamacare.
Well, I just know that it gives health insurance to people. And to people that already have insurance, it just keeps it the same way.
I believe when you're 18, they take it away, right? The Medicare, and so you have to get your own health insurance.
If you're not a full-time employee and you don't have health care, that they're going to take it out of your tax refund or something like that. I'm not sure.
Well, first of all, I don't know what Obamacare is, so if I knew, then I would have, but Obama, please help me.
Rudy Becerra, an organizer for the union, says the main reason why low-income residents have a limited knowledge of the new healthcare reform is because there are too many outlets that give wrong information.
There's a lot of confusion, too, with the programs. So what we do is really try to create understanding and help out with the Medi-Cal. This is what Healthy Way LA is. This is what Medi-Cal. These are under Obamacare. Obamacare is not a plan, it's the law, and this is what's under Obamacare. So really, that's very true. A lot of the folks that really need it don't have the least amount of understanding, and so that's our job, is going out there in the community, and that's why we're in certain communities, South Los Angeles, Boyle Heights, Compton, Linwood, because those are, low-income minority communities that really need to know the information and really need the benefits the most.
Not only do Californians learn about healthcare reform, they also get informed about the different clinics available to them to get the help they need. AltaMed is one of such clinics that help specifically low-income patients. Alfonso Vega, director for AltaMed, says healthcare should not be a commodity, but a basic human right.
So from our perspective, healthcare reform is a dream come true. Within our communities that we serve alone, there's over 500,000 people who currently are uninsured that will have access to healthcare that have never had access before. Within our own clinics, there's 65,000 people that currently have either no insurance or some type of partial coverage that will qualify for full coverage effective January 1st. So the opportunity is tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous.
After visiting the different stations and gaining a little bit more knowledge about Obamacare, many potential participants felt that the day was not only helpful, but also provided a relief.
Now I can say that I can help my brothers and sisters, my neighbors, and not to be afraid.
Well, I feel that I know more, that I can go home and tell my mom and dad, about it because they don't know.
I haven't been to a doctor in nearly 10 years,
Angelito de Guzman. Angelito de Guzman.
I'm pretty happy now.
In East Los Angeles, I'm Mona Adem, Valley View News.
Demonstrators have been organizing in major cities throughout the nation to protest low-paying fast food jobs. Christiana Kelly has the story in Hollywood.
Hundreds of fast food employees and supporters gathered in the streets of Hollywood to demand higher pay from restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King, and Taco Bell. The employees are asking fast food restaurants to increase the basic pay to $15 per hour. Simon Rojas works at a McDonald's in South LA to support his family and makes $8 an hour.
Well, my mom, she's disabled, and my father is too. So my mom and my dad have to depend on myself and my two younger sisters.
Employees say $15 would be a fair living wage, and members of the community like Jason Capel showed up to support that notion.
$15 an hour might sound like a lot, but you're talking $30,000 a year before taxes, and to try and support a family on that in LA or any other city is just impossible.
In fact, the Economic Policy Institute says the majority of fast food employees are adults working full-time, and 28% are raising children. But not everyone agrees with the protesters and did not hold back their opinions. Rick Anderson tweeted, $15 per hour for an entry-level job? I have to disagree. People need to have higher motivation to grow in careers for more money. And Jimmy Hernandez tweeted, why? It is a non-technical job that requires little skill and literally no experience. Stay in school, earn better pay. And experts are saying 90% of fast food restaurants are franchised and operate on slim profit margins. The parent company's profits do not reflect the earnings of the franchises. But Community Coalition leader Marquise Dawson says low wages become a problem for everybody.
When folks can't afford to provide child care for their children, we end up paying for that. When folks don't have good health care coverage, the community ends up paying for that.
Workers also protested in New York, Chicago, and Detroit, and protests will likely continue across the country. In Hollywood, I'm Christiana Kelly, Valley View News. The Los Angeles City Council has lifted the ban of murals on private property. However, there are still some restrictions on this new measure. Valley View News reporter Camilla Rambaldi has the story.
Murals, murals, and more murals. How would you feel if you could have one of these on your house?
As long as it is something that is constructive.
Boy, that's a controversial subject.
This form of art is legal once again on private properties for the first time in 11 years. As part of the measure, LA City Council also considered allowing art on residential areas as well. But this option is still pending.
The question that still remains unanswered from LA City Council is whether it will be legal for mural artists to paint murals on single-family residences, such as on the walls of this home.
Mural artist and director of Canoga Park's Art Center, Stuart Vaughn, says he is against the idea.
I wouldn't want a mural on my own home, personally. I might consider a ceramic mural as part of a garden feature in the backyard, but a mural on my building facing the street, I don't think that would be something that I would personally want.
But Woodland Hills homeowner Ron Guzman says mural art outside his home wouldn't be such a bad idea.
I think it would be really cool to have a statement on the house, and maybe, I mean, it could be fun. You can do all kinds of things.
Guzman says LA City Council should consider it.
People should have the right to do that. And the fact that they cannot do it on their homes, I think is somewhat limiting.
He also believes that there needs to be a good understanding of what freedom of speech is.
You can have differences of opinion, but if you're offending someone and offending them on a daily basis, then I think that's wrong.
In Woodland Hills, this is Camilla Rambaldi, Valley View News.
A new painting by Vincent van Gogh has been discovered more than 120 years after his death. The painting was discovered by the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. It is titled Sunset at Montmajour. It shows a landscape in the south of France. The museum says this was a place where Van Gogh used to do some of his work. The painting will appear in the exhibition Van Gogh at Work at the Amsterdam Museum.
Coming up on Valley View News, Serena Williams wins yet again. And who is going to perform during the NFL halftime show? We'll let you know when we come back. And now Ryan Muzak has the latest in sports.
Grammy-winning Bruno Mars has been chosen to perform the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show. Mars has been successful in his music career the last 3 years. His latest album, Unorthodox Jukebox, has released 2 Billboard chart-topping singles. Mars will be joining a long cast of past halftime performers like Madonna and Prince. The Super Bowl will be set in MetLife Stadium on February 2nd of next year. Major League Baseball is struggling with the problem of performance-enhancing drugs, but the Cal State Northridge baseball team trains the old-fashioned way, with hard work and dedication. Carefully planned workout regimens focus on shoulder, leg, and core strength. On the field, players use meditation and visualization to prepare for practice. New head coach Greg Moore uses a slow progression system working on mechanics with his pitchers. Other players work on batting technique by hitting off a tee. In July of 2013, Major League Baseball issued some of its harshest penalties in the history of the game. Superstar players like Ryan Braun, Alex Rodriguez, among others, were given lengthy suspensions for their connections to a biogenesis clinic in Florida and their alleged use of performance-enhancing drugs. Junior catcher Alex Mercado says using performance-enhancing drugs might be a confidence issue.
I mean, it makes me sad to see like people are cheating the game of baseball, and I feel like what goes through their head is that they don't trust their skills, so they need something else to make them better.
The use of PEDs in Major League Baseball not only has an impact on Division I programs, but as head coach Moore suggests, an even greater impact on the younger generation of baseball players.
It bothered me more for the younger players, the 10-year-olds, 12, 15, who don't quite understand the role of accountability in their own lives yet. They see those players and they see those personalities as the people that they're going to learn from and emulate, everything from batting stance to the decisions they make off the field.
The all-natural Matadors don't begin their season until spring semester, but they're hopeful it's going to be a successful one. Reporting from Cal State Northridge, I'm Ryan Music for Valley View News. Serena Williams defeated Victoria Azarenka in the finals of the U.S. Open. Williams has now won 5 U.S. Open titles and clinched her 17th Grand Slam. At 31, she becomes the oldest player to win the Grand Slam in the Open era. Williams won a huge $3.6 million paycheck for winning the event. The country that will be hosting the Olympics in 2020 has been selected. The International Olympic Committee has chosen the city of Tokyo to host the Summer Games. The crowds burst into cheers when the committee displayed its choice. Tokyo was chosen over 2 other contenders, Madrid, Spain, and Istanbul, Turkey. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said the city is safe despite radiation leaking from the Fukushima nuclear plant. But Abe has personally promised an effective cleanup at the site of the tsunami and nuclear leaks. Wrestling has been a part of the Olympics since the beginning of the Games, but there was a proposal to eliminate the sport and replace it with baseball or squash.
With 49 votes, wrestling has been elected for the 2020 Games.
The International Olympic Committee finally voted to keep wrestling in the Games. Wrestling is now guaranteed a spot in the Olympics through 2024. That's all for sports. Now to you, Nanor.
And today in health news, about 200,000 bottles of children's Motrin drops are being recalled. The recall is due to a potential contamination with tiny plastic particles. The manufacturer, Johnson & Johnson, is asking retailers to remove the affected product from the shelves. The possibly tainted product is berry flavor concentrated infant drops. They also are asking customers to stop using the infant drops if they have bottles that are part of the recall.
A study has found that nearly 30% of new moms are experiencing a need for more diapers. The study found that low-income families are particularly hard hit by this need. Mothers are changing their children's diapers less frequently. This can lead to increased infections and diaper rash. The stress of not having diapers can also affect mothers emotionally. Emotionally stressed mothers can impact the development of their children. Families in need can contact the National Diaper Network to access a diaper bank near them.
A new study shows drinking alcohol when young can increase cancer risk. Young women who regularly drink alcohol before their first pregnancy may be increasing their risk for breast cancer. The prospective study also found that alcohol use before pregnancy was associated with an increased risk for benign breast disease or BBD. Having 10 grams of alcohol 6 times a week was associated with an 11% increase in breast cancer and 16% increase in BBD. Doctors say limiting alcohol can pay off through reduced breast cancer risk.
A federal report has found that e-cigarette use among teenagers is going up. The CDC says that 1 in 10 teenagers has tried an e-cigarette in the last year. Makers of e-cigarettes claim they are a healthy alternative to smoking. However, researchers say there is not yet enough evidence of the health risks of the device. E-cigarettes are battery-powered and pure nicotine is vaporized by the device and delivered in an aerosol form to the user. Health experts say they are also worried that e-cigarettes can increase the use of regular cigarettes among teens.
Coming up next, we will tell you what is trending in classroom technology, plus a story of make-believe superheroes that became real heroes. Now we have Jay Jenkins with the Business Report.
A new initiative at Cal State Northridge will integrate more technology by using iPads. But are students on board with the new changes? Nora Corey has more on this story.
Because I can point out, right, that right here there's...
Cal State University Northridge has launched the CSUN Tablet Initiative. Under the program, students buy an iPad and can access digital textbooks, apps, and learning materials for classes. E-study classes are being offered by 70 professors in 7 CSUN majors, from biology and kinesiology to public health and journalism. Assistant Professor of Biology Dr. Mary Pat Stein says there's a lot of technology teachers are looking at to incorporate into the use of iPads.
I think what's going to happen is students are going to get a deeper learning. Being able to use those facts that you've learned in a totally different way. We can do that now in class. We can say, what do you do with this information? How do you use that in a new, different way? And I think that's exciting for students to see the benefit right off the bat. Now, with the iPad, there's an app we're using called Explain Everything. In the middle of a lecture, in the middle of my PowerPoint, I can just add a slide and I can draw immediately and everybody in the room can see it.
Although colleges are pushing for the iPad initiative, students here at CSUN have mixed feelings whether the iPads are cost-effective or if they will improve their learning skills in the classrooms.
I feel like it's a little unnecessary because I just don't understand trying to make students buy iPads for a single class.
It's really good for the students because, they're going, so they don't need to buy the actual textbook or getting it online. They'll have it right there as soon as they download it.
For me, I like having a book. I like having to highlight things. I like something physical.
The Matador bookstore sells the iPads and even offers students a payment plan, which would span over 2 or 3 semesters. In Northridge, I'm Nenore Corey, Valley View News.
Swiping left or swiping right is all some people need to do to find their next date. Tinder was only released a year ago, but users have already swiped 13 billion times. The average user checks their app 11 times a day. They spend an average of 7 minutes on the app each time. Tinder was designed to help users find people to flirt with or date. Everyone's profile is linked to their Facebook account to increase authenticity. Founders of the app say it was designed to attract this decade's social media users. There was no official confirmation, but many observers knew what Apple planned to unveil: a new iPhone. Apple's updated iPhone model replaces the iPhone 4S and the 5. A plastic, lower-cost version called the iPhone 5C will also make its debut. According to other leaks, the iPhone 5S has more computing power and a better camera. Perhaps the most exciting feature is a fingerprint sensor where the home button is traditionally located. A popular advertising website is being sued. Yelp is a site that promotes advertising for small businesses. Yelp does not allow business owners, employees, friends, or family members to write reviews about their own firms. There is a system in place that detects fake reviews, but Yelp has dealt with negative claims for years about their customer service. One attorney sued the company for $2,700, claiming they did not deliver on the advertising he paid for. Yelp responded with an appeal, claiming the attorney planted fake reviews on the law firm's Yelp page. An investigation is being conducted on petroleum giant BP that may lead to a criminal prosecution. A former FBI director released a 93-page report on alleged corruption in the $25 billion payout for the oil spill. The report includes possible fraud, money laundering, and perjury. There were also findings of improper and unethical conduct by senior lawyers. This could threaten to bring up BP's total fine to $42 billion. That's the business report. Now to you, Christiana.
Former Neighborhood Watch Captain George Zimmerman has been detained for questioning by police. Zimmerman's estranged wife, Shelley, called police after Zimmerman allegedly threatened her with a gun. The alleged incident took place in her father's home in Lake Mary, Florida. Zimmerman was found innocent of all charges in July for fatally shooting Trayvon Martin. There were nationwide protests following Zimmerman's acquittal. The alleged threat against his wife took place just 1 week after Shelley Zimmerman filed for divorce.
New York's Fashion Week ceremony has been a most memorable event. Fashion Week is based at Super Pier 25. Designers Carol Lim and Umberto Leon say this Fashion Week honors Carol's Korean background and Los Angeles' street racing culture. Street racing fashion was shown through belts, straps, and buckles. They were paired with Korean garments and baggy-style pants. Race flags and checkerboard patterns were also inspirations for the collection.
2 men dressed up as superheroes in West Virginia became real heroes after a house caught fire. John Buckland and Troy Markham dressed as Batman and Captain America for an event to teach children positive lessons in life. The men saw that a house was burning nearby and rushed over to check if anyone was inside. Buckland used to be a firefighter in the military and used his training to search the house.
He breaks out that window, some of the smoke relieves, smoke layer goes up a little bit more, go back in, it's getting pretty dark. I'm feeling around, and I'll be darned if I feel something furry.
The couple who owned the house were out of town, but their cat was locked inside. Of course, Batman and Captain America rescued the kitty. Just like real superheroes, they said they only did what any normal person would do. Thank you for watching this edition of Valley View News. I'm Christiana Kelly.
And I'm Nenore Corey. Have a great week.